Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Donald Trump says there will be an orderly transition of power after the US Congress certified Joe Biden's win in the presidential election. It comes just hours after deadly protests erupted in Washington, D.C., and after Congress formally validated Mr. Biden's November victory, certifying his 306 Electoral College votes.
To those who wreaked havoc in our capital today, you did not win.
Mr. Trump's statement was posted on Twitter by the president's Deputy Chief of Staff, Dan Scavino, after the president was locked out of his social media accounts. Twitter and Facebook also removed several posts by the president, which made false claims about the election result and praised his supporters for the march in Washington, D.C. to protest against his defeat. Mexico's president says the country will provide coronavirus vaccines to undocumented migrants in the United States after the governor of Nebraska said they would likely not get vaccinated. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador did not elaborate on how his government would execute such a plan or which migrants would qualify. The comments had come from Republican Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts, provoking criticism from public health and migrant advocates. According to estimates from the Migration Policy Institute, around 10% of workers in the US lack legal immigration status. In Indonesia, the highest Muslim clerical council has said it aims to issue a ruling on whether a COVID-19 vaccine is halal before the country is due to start a mass inoculation program. Indonesia is the largest Muslim-majority country in the world and plans to launch vaccinations on January the 13th after obtaining 3 million doses from China's Sinovac Biotech. It is now waiting for the country's Food and Drug Agency to issue emergency use approval. Controversy over whether vaccines adhere to Islamic principles has slowed public health responses before, such as in 2018 when the Indonesian Ulema Council declared that a measles vaccine was forbidden under Islam. At least 2 children and 1 woman have drowned after a passenger boat sank on Lake Kivu in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, as survivors warned that dozens more are still missing. The boat, bound for the regional capital Goma, capsized overnight after having set off in the dark, overloaded and from an illegal mooring. That's according to local authorities' spokesman. The spokesman said that the boat had 51 passengers on board, but survivors who were rescued by local boatmen said the vessel had been carrying at least 100 passengers. And finally, London zookeepers have begun the count at the British Zoo's annual stocktake this week. With over 400 species to record, the count still took place behind closed doors in London's lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic, in what has been the most challenging year of the London Zoo's 200-year history. The annual stocktake of animals is submitted each year as part of the zoo's licence, but is also vital to record progress of and inform the international zoo community of the global conservation breeding work being carried out. And that's your international news around the world in 5, and now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.